Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Regulation H VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring one of the strongest team archetypes in Regulation H, Porygon 2 plus Ursaluna. This version of the team finished in top 4 of the Baltimore Regional Championships, which was the very first major of Reg H, and it features strong attackers like Normal Terra Ursaluna with Guts, as well as Life Orb Nasty Plot Golden Go. What's really fun about this team is that it features an incredible anti-meta Pokemon in Flamigo. Flamigo's usage was really low before the Baltimore Regional Championships, but it fits this team perfectly. With it, you can do massive amounts of damage with Brave Bird and close combat into so many common Pokemon in the format, and Scrappy allows you to even hit Ghost types, allowing you to hit Golden Go for super effective damage. You've also got Wide Guard, which provides really awesome support in helping out against spread moves, and overall, Porygon 2 on this team can also deal massive amounts of damage. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, would really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Today's video is sponsored by Maraibo Go, a brand new open world free-to-play game developed by Dreamcube Studio. In the world of Maraibo Go, you can tame over 100 different monsters, all with unique skills and elements. From the simplest wooden stick to the most powerful modern weaponry, there's plenty of equipment to help you tame these monsters. You can also use your monsters to help you farm and gather for your home base as you build it up. As someone who loves building things in games, this part excites me the most. Maraibo Go is also a multiplayer game. With so many different maps and terrains, you can set out on the world and explore with your friends as you defeat bosses and work on building up bases together. Maraibo Go will be available globally on October 10th. If you're interested, click the link in the description and pre-register for the game. Maraibo Go is a cross-platform free-to-play game and will be available both on PC and mobile. Those who pre-register will get additional rewards and bonuses, which can be claimed within the first 180 days of the game's launch. Thanks again to Maraibo Go for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. This team revolves around the core of Porygon 2 plus Ursaluna, which is one of the strongest duos you can have in this format. Ursaluna in Trick Room will just deal massive amounts of damage and have the ability to get a one-hit knockout onto so many common Pokemon. Porygon 2 here is also a really nice offensive option between Ice Beam, Terra Blast, and Fighting Terra. Fighting Terra, of course, allows you to hit Pokemon like King Gambit and Incineroar for super effective damage. You've also got Life Orb Nasty Plot Golden Go with Dragon Terra to deal a lot of damage, Incineroar and Amoonguss for support, and Scrappy Flamigo. Flamigo, I think, is one of the stars of this team. Not many people were using it before this team came out, and it's really opened the world, I think, to how good Flamigo can be. Scrappy Close Combat is just awesome to hit Golden Go. Brave Bird, super effective into so many common Pokemon as well, like Rillaboom and Amoonguss, and Wide Guard is super good support, and so overall, the team has a ton of offense, and also has a lot of defense between Intimidate from Incineroar, Pollen Puff from Amoonguss, and just bulky sets in general. For some quick context, this team finished as high as top 4 at the Baltimore Regional Championships, which was the very first major of Regulation H taking place in the middle of September. Toler Webb piloted it to a 4th place finish, and Chris Hom piloted a very similar version of the team to 5th place. There were also other versions of the team that ended up finishing in the top 32, as you can see here, in 25th place, as well as 29th place and 31st place. And so coming out of this tournament, I thought that this was easily one of the top teams, if not the #1 team to beat. Even though it didn't win the entire tournament, the fact that so many high-level players had ended up bringing it to the tournament, and the fact that it almost won the entire tournament is a testament to its strength. And Flamigo, of course, was one of the main things that really made this composition stick out. Porygon 2 Ursaluna in general, still very good. As you can see, there were several other versions that finished in the top 8, and it claimed 4 spots out of the top 8 overall, right? So this is just one of the best duos in the format right now, and this, of course, is one of the takes on it with Flamigo. Breaking down the individual Pokemon, I want to start off by talking about Flamigo. The rest of this team, I think, was a very standard archetype coming into the format, but Flamigo, in my opinion, really elevates it to the next level. Flamigo is just an incredible anti-meta Pokemon. When you think about the most popular picks, you've got Pokemon like Golden Go, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Archaladon. Well, Flamigo can hit all of those for super effective damage, especially thanks to Scrappy, right? Scrappy is an incredible ability because not only does it allow you to hit Ghost-type Pokemon, it also makes you immune to Intimidate. So Incineroar has a really tough time against Flamigo because Flamigo can just ignore Intimidate and pressure back with close combat. With Ghost Terra in particular, you can become immune to Fake Out on the first turn and just knock out Incineroar in one hit. Brave Bird, of course, also gives you really good coverage into grass types like Amoonguss as well as Rillaboom, and a lot of times people will go for Grass Terra against this team to deal with Amoonguss, for example, so Flamigo can also take advantage of that. Wide Guard is an incredible support move that obviously helps you against spread moves, and this is valuable just because there's so many common spread attackers in the format, whether it be Hisuian Typhlosion with Eruption, for example, or Primarina with Hyper Voice, or Golden Ghost Make It Rain. Flamigo is also pretty fast, and so it is a really effective lead with this team, thanks to the speed and focus sash. For example, I think like Flamigo Porygon 2 is a fun lead where you pressure Trick Room, but you also pressure a lot of offense from Flamigo right away. So overall, I think that very few people had really realized how good Flamigo was until this team was brought to Baltimore Regionals, and then this team, in my opinion, really put Flamigo on the map. At its core, though, you still, of course, want to set up Trick Room a lot of the times with Porygon 2 plus Ursaluna. This Porygon 2 is super defensive, as you can see, near max HP, max defense. You've got Download here, and of course, Ice Beam and Terra Blast gives you really good coverage as well. Porygon is a really effective user of Terra Blast because you don't actually need to Terra to get good value out of it. Even just in regular form, Terra Blast does a lot of damage. And of course, one of the fun things is because of the way Download works, when you Terra, you can take advantage of whatever Download boost you get, which is really nice. Fighting in particular is good coverage into normal types as well as dark type Pokemon, and so for example, it gives you really good coverage into Incineroar as well as King Gambit. King Gambit's one of the most common Pokemon in the format right now, so having a way to threaten that for a knockout is super nice, but overall Porygon here is super defensive. Ursaluna, of course, is the primary sweeper of this team, and you often want to get it out under Trick Room. One of the interesting things about this Ursaluna is that you aren't min speed. You hit a 52 speed stat, which outspeeds min speed Ursaluna Blood Moon, which hits 51. And so, of course, if you're going up against opposing Ursalunas as well that are min speed, you'll be able to outpace them a little bit as well. Normal Terra here is one of the adaptations. A lot of times people run Ghost Terra, but Normal Terra just allows you to have an even stronger facade, which is really nice. And of course, gets rid of that ground typing, which is hit by super effective damage, especially from water types in the format. The Ursaluna here is still going to be pretty bulky, as you can see, good EV distribution between HP defense and special defense. But pay attention to the speed here because it can create for some interactions, of course, when you're up against opposing Ursaluna. So Porygon 2 Ursaluna is often the duel that you want to use in a lot of games, and the goal is to set up Trick Room, bring out Ursaluna under Trick Room. To get Ursaluna out safely under Trick Room, Incineroar is going to be really valuable because you've got Parting Shot here, right? So for example, a common lead with this team is Incin P2, Parting Shot, Trick Room, bring out Ursaluna, and then just start sweeping with Ursaluna immediately. Pretty standard Incineroar here, but the main thing to note is that you've got actually a good amount of speed investment, so this will allow you to get slightly faster Parting Shots off, which is really nice, and this can be valuable in the Incineroar versus Incineroar matchup, for example. If you have set up Trick Room, then if your Incineroar is slower than your opponent under Trick Room, so faster outside of Trick Room, then you'll be able to Parting Shot after they move, which is pretty sweet as well. And Flare Blitz knockoff, just obviously really good offensive coverage here. Amoonguss is another really good support option on this team. This is fairly standard, but the main thing to note is that you don't have Clear Smog or Protect, and so you've got Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is something that a lot of people like using on Amoonguss because people will often go for Grass Terra to become immune to Spore, but then you can just hit them for super effective damage with Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb's 30% chance to poison can add up fairly quickly as well. A lot of different items that people have been running on Amoonguss on these teams. Some people have run, for example, healing items. You can run Mentorb here, as you can see on this set, which allows you to avoid Taunt, which is really valuable, especially when you're going up against things like Prankster Pokemon with Taunt. So a lot of flexibility here. This Amoonguss also, as you'll note, is not min speed. It hits a 31 IV and just 50 speed stat. And so keep that in mind. The Amoonguss is still going to be slower than Ursaluna, but you will be faster, of course, than min speed Amoonguss is. So Incin and Amoonguss just provide a lot of good defensive support for Ursaluna. Pollen Puff next to Ursaluna, also really nice. The final Pokemon is Goldengo, and this allows for a slightly faster mode with the team where you don't have to commit to Trick Room. Goldengo here is the Life Orb Nasty Plot set, but it's not Steel Terra, it's Dragon Terra, which is really nice defensively, and your max speed. Max speed here with Timid gives you a pretty significant edge against, for example, opposing Goldengos. There's a lot of Pokemon in the Goldengo speed tier range, and a lot of people don't expect Goldengo on a team like this to just be max speed as well. And so you can hit really hard with Goldengo immediately, right? You've got Nasty Plot, but Life Orb Make It Rain also just does a ton of damage. Flamigo Golden Go, for example, is one of the most offensive leads that you can have with this team just to threaten with a lot of damage immediately. If you want to set up with Golden Go, you can go Golden Go Amoonguss or Incineroar Golden go for Fake Out into Nasty Plot or Rage Powder into Nasty Plot, and just start dishing out damage with this Pokemon. Overall, the team has a lot of reliable attackers, even though Ursaluna and Porygon is like the main combo. Golden Go and Flamigo both do a ton of damage, and Amoonguss and Incineroar can also do a lot of damage against the right teams. So you often want to ask yourself how you can set yourself up for success, right? A lot of times it's sweeping with Ursaluna or Golden Go, so how do you position those for success? For Ursaluna, a lot of it is how do I position it and get it out, right? How do I get Trick Room up safely and get Ursaluna out in the earlier turns of Trick Room so that I can just do a lot of damage? You often want to consider setting up 2 Trick Rooms with this team as well, because there is a lot of Intimidate and Fake Out cycling in the format, which is an effective way in dealing with Ursaluna. But some leads you can consider include Porygon 2 plus the Incineroar, the Amoonguss plus the Porygon 2. These are safe Trick Room setups. Flamigo plus Porygon applies a lot of offensive pressure. People will often feel pressure to deal with Flamigo, allowing you to set up Trick Room with Porygon. You could also lead Ursaluna immediately, but I think that one is a little bit riskier unless you feel confident in it. Golden Go plus Amoonguss, Golden Go plus Insane, Golden Go plus Flamigo, all viable options as well. So yeah. This team was on stream a lot at the Baltimore Regional Championships as well, so you should watch how the best players who brought this team to that tournament piloted it and get a feel of how they like to play with the team. So in terms of weaknesses, a couple of things to watch out for. First of all, Porygon 2 is definitely vulnerable against fighting type attacks and fighting type Pokemon. Ghost type Pokemon can also be pretty scary because you don't do very much with Terra Blast or Ice Beam. So an example is Golden Go, where if a Golden Go is in front of Porygon, it can set up. Now the rest of the team obviously is pretty good into Golden Go, but let's say your opponent, you have Porygon 2 Amoonguss and your opponent leads Golden Go, you're going to be fighting from behind right away. Porygon also can be shut down by Taunt, which of course prevents the Trick Room. And one of the things to think about when you're fighting against this Pokemon is how do I make sure I put it in positions where it doesn't just get to recover all of the damage that I do to it, right? Recover is one of the best tools that Porygon 2 has. But I've had games where I lead Porygon 2 with Golden Go or Flamigo, for example. I don't want to set up Trick Room immediately, but Porygon suddenly loses half its health. Well, that can put Porygon in a really tough spot because if Trick Room isn't set up, it can just get potentially knocked out in the subsequent turn. Knockoff is also going to be a really valuable tool in dealing with this Porygon. So those are all just a couple things to pay attention to. Ursaluna, of course, is really strong, but you have to think about how Ursaluna can come out safely when you use this team. So if you're the opponent, you can think about ways to put on pressure against Ursaluna. For example, Ursaluna often has to switch in on a turn and potentially be vulnerable to taking a lot of damage, or for example getting hit by a Spore or removing its Flame Orb from a knockoff, for example. I had one match where I had Amoonguss and Flamigo out on the field. Flamigo was asleep and I switched Amoonguss out into Ursaluna and my opponent just spored the Amoonguss slot. Ursaluna got put to sleep and suddenly I was in a really bad position. Ursaluna here is also normal Terra, so fighting type attacks and Pokemon will be quite effective. I ran up against, for example, a Bulk Up Annihilate that was able to just put on a lot of pressure, and because they had safety goggles, my Amoonguss couldn't do anything into it, and Incineroar only would further increase his attack with Defiant. When you're dealing with Incineroar, Intimidate's valuable, Fake Out support is really valuable. Having, I think, like, for example, a Steel Terra Levitator, that's pretty niche, but I ran into a Hydreigon in one game that had Steel Terra, and that was really tough to deal with as well. So these are all just some examples that can give Ursaluna trouble. I think one of the other things with this team is that it's often rare for Ursaluna to just like come out in Trick Room and fully sweep, and so putting it in tough positions where it won't be able to just do that is really important. Flamigo here, I think, is relatively frail, right? So even though it's a really nice anti-meta Pokemon, you still have to be careful about just getting popped pretty quickly. And so even though its attack can't be dropped, I think a lot of times I've had Flamigo like attack into a slot, but my opponent either protects or defensively terras with that slot. Flamigo doesn't get very much and then can just get KO'd in return. You also have to worry about priority, obviously, because even though you have Focus Sash, priority can just finish you off. I've had some games, I think a lot of times when I lose with this team, I Ghost Terra Flamigo on turn 1 and my opponent just doesn't click Fake Out into it and they Fake Out into Porygon, for example. If I lead Flamigo Porygon, suddenly then I've Ghost Terra'd and I'm weak to types like Dark afterwards, for example. Golden Go here is going to be a little bit more vulnerable because you are not the most defensive, so keep that in mind. And I think one other thing I want to call out is that Amoonguss on this team doesn't have Protect. That's something that you can really take advantage of. And for example, I've had opponents who just consistently double up onto Amoonguss, right, to knock it out. And so be careful, especially with this team being public. If you're using it on ladder and your opponents know that it doesn't have Protect, they can very easily just double up into that slot to force a knockout, basically. So those are just some things that I wanted to call out. All right, we've got Incin, Whimsicott, Dragonite, Ursaluna, Rillaboom, and Golden Go here. Flamigo looks amazing. Its offensive coverage is super good into my opponent's team. So I'm tempted to just lead it, honestly. Flamigo. Porygon, I think, is nice here. We've got Ice Beam for Dragonite. I definitely want Ursaluna. I could lead, like, very offensively, like something like Flamigo plus Golden Go, honestly. I could also go Flamigo Incin. But I like Flamigo Porygon immediately, Ursaluna in the back. And then for the last one, Golden Go gives me so much damage pressure. Incin is a nice switch into a good bit of their team. I think I like Golden Go here. Alright, let's try this out. So the interesting thing is Flamigo commands a lot of offensive pressure, so we could just protect with it on turn 1. I could also just hard switch it into Ursaluna on the first turn of the game. If they lead, for example, like Whimsicott Dragonite, Whimsicott Rillaboom, I could also pivot in the Golden Go on turn 1. The main thing that threatens Golden Go in this matchup is Incineroar and Golden Go from their end, but the Incineroar has a really tough time into Flamigo. So let's see. I think we could obviously just go for the Trick Room route in this game as well, but we don't need to immediately commit to it. We're going to lead with Incin and Dragonite. Okay, so solid for the Flamigo. I think low-key Flamigo could just Terra turn 1 into Ghost, which helps us get around Extreme Speed as well. I'm kind of down for that. Terra, Ghost, Close Combat into you, and then just Ice Beam into you. And if they try to go like fake out Extreme Speed into Flamigo, this punishes them super heavily. I think I also could have gone Protect with the Flamigo, but I don't want to eat up a knockoff into the Porygon slot. So Flamigo Terras. Nice. Oh, this is sick. Yep. I think we might just win the game off that one turn alone, honestly. Close Combat. Beautiful. And this is why you use Flamigo, right? You have Scrappy, so you don't have to worry about Intimidate from Incineroar. And with Ghost Terra, you can get around Fake Out, right? So we just applied so much offensive pressure here on turn 1. And it's like both of my Pokemon threatening with super effective attacks, and we had the download boost on Porygon. So they went all in, like really worried about Flamigo. And I don't think they can come back from this, honestly, because I think Flamigo just beats whatever's out in the back. But yeah, like normally you get around Flamigo because you can break the Focus Sash and then Extreme Speed can just finish me off. So Whimsicott comes out. Cool. And Golden Go. Nice. We've got our Golden Go and Ursaluna in the back. Here, I mean, the game's not 100% over, right? So let's just actually think this through still. This could Nasty Plot, but then we could just Wide Guard infinitely. I think here I'm happy to just Close Combat into Golden Go, and I'm not sure I want to Trick Room yet immediately. I'm happy to just Ice Beam Whimsicott. Okay, Golden Go just protects, fine by me. As they Moonblast into Flamigo. That makes sense. Cool. So Close Combat will fail, but that's fine. And now I'll be able to Ice Beam into the Whimsicott slot. Bring you down to Sash. Beautiful. And I think here we can Trick Room now in case they... Well, they shouldn't Protect. I think you should always Moonblast or Tailwind here. So I'm actually down to just... it actually might make sense to conserve this. No, I think it's actually fine giving it up. I might as well Close Combat in case for some reason they don't Tailwind. And just Ice Beam again. Cool. They just Moonblast. Nice. So now you can Nasty Plot, I suppose, but then if you Nasty Plot, I get my Golden Go out. Yep. Good play by them. But Flamigo was able to apply so much pressure in this game. As we knock out the Whimsicott now. Perfect. And we have a Timid Max Speed Golden Go, which is really, really nice against opposing Golden Goes, right? So now I can just bring this out. Their Golden Go is basically forced to Terra. But the question is, what do you do from now, right? I can just make it rain after this turn. So I'm down to Shadow Ball into you. And I'm down to Trick Room here just because we have Ursaluna in the back. So yeah, they end up protecting, which is fine. So it's a little bit awkward this turn because I've set up Trick Room now, but it's fine because now I'm just waiting for the free switch and into Ursaluna, and you have to knock out my Golden Go. The one risk in this is now my opponent, I guess, could like get infinite protects, which is a little bit spooky, but they should Shadow Ball here into us, but I don't want to risk just throwing Ursaluna away. So here I'm happy to just Shadow Ball into you and Ice Beam into you. Okay. Ice Beam. Yep, they Shadow Ball, but now I get the free switch in into Ursaluna. So there were a lot of different ways I could have played this endgame. Like, I think it was maybe a little bit sloppy after turn 1, but I figured all I need to do is get Ursaluna out safely under Trick Room, right? So they're leftovers. Yep. Okay. We bring Ursaluna out. I guess the one thing here is they could be Flying Terra, which would be interesting. I'm just going to Headlong Rush and Ice Beam, though. Because even if you are Flying Terra, your leftovers, you're not going to be super scary without a Life Orb. Because I should Survive, Make It Rain, and then Ice Beam just hits you for super effective damage. But they're Dragon Terra, so this just KOs. Yeah. I think, like, yeah, Flying Terra was the only Terra that was really, really threatening. Let's comment on Golden Go. But now I just get Headlong Rush into you, and +1 Ice Beam for the KO. Cool. Beautiful. So you can see, like, this team, Ursaluna and Golden Go normally are the superstars in terms of damage, but it was really Flamigo and Porygon that carried me in this game, right? I was able to just get a double knockout immediately on turn 1 and put on so much offensive pressure. I think I could have gone, like, Brave Bird and Ice Beam into Whimsicott, but basically in this game, I wanted to make sure that I had such a big lead, right? So in my head, I was like, I just need to make sure that I keep doing consistent damage. Of course, I could double up into Whimsicott, but what if Whimsicott protects there and then Golden Go goes for a nasty plot? Actually, I guess in that case, it would be fine because I still have the Focus Sash intact. So maybe it would have been fine to just double up onto Whimsicott, because even if they protected and you nasty plot, then you would still need a Tailwind the next turn. I guess the main thing is they hadn't shown their Terra yet, which was the thing. And I figured, yeah, in this game, like, there were so, like, if they didn't protect Golden Go the turn that I set up Trick Room and Shadow Ball can just KO them, right? And with them being Dragon Terra, I didn't think there was really any way they could win. But I guess because we didn't know what their Terra was, like, I still think that endgame, maybe I could have just made, like, one aggressive prediction to end the game sooner, but the reality is I felt like we could play completely safe after turn 1 and still win the game, and that's what ended up happening, right? Even with my opponent making the right protect plays with Golden Go, we just built up such a big lead. All right, we've got Rain here with some interesting support. So we've got Pelipper, Basculegion, Archaludon, but then Hisuian, Decidueye, Murkrow, and Ursaluna. Peli Basculegion is a really threatening lead. In one of the practice games I had with this team, my goal was basically to, like, use Flamigo to close combat the Basculegion and let it faint after it took Wave Crash recoil damage. Because the reality is Wave Crash just hits Porygon, the Ursaluna, the Incineroar, all for so much damage. I think in this game we can probably look to just set up Trick Room, so I like leading Porygon plus the Amoonguss, Ursaluna in the back. And honestly, Flamigo is a really nice closer with close combat and Brave Bird, so I'll go with that. Wide Guard also does help against their Ursaluna Blood Moon. And I think Focus Sash is valuable as a tool here as well, because we can just tank one attack and then retaliate back. Incineroar I don't love in this matchup. Mainly, I'd be bringing into Basculegion and the Decidueye, but both of those have such good offensive matchups into us. Golden Go is not terrible here. I think one approach could have been a Amoonguss Golden Go in this one, but to me, I think they don't have too much to stop Trick Room. We even have the Mentor Orb on Amoonguss, which can deal with Taunt Murkrow. So I like this. And yeah, I think Flamigo is a pretty interesting late game option as well, because we've got super effective hits into Ursaluna, Decidueye, as well as Archaludon. But I think Peli Basculegion is a really threatening lead, and one of the things I learned from the last time I played against it is that, like, Basculegion, it's just a decently naturally bulky Pokemon, so even though you take a lot of recoil from Wave Crash, you might still not be able to knock it out even after it's taking like 20 to 30% of recoil. So yeah, it is Peli Basculegion. Okay, my game plan here is to just Rage Powder and Trick Room turn 1. Because we really want to get Trick Room up, and like I'm threatened immensely by Water Terra Wave Crash into us, right? So Trick Room here and Rage Powder. And then what that allows for is they free switch it into Ursaluna. I'm okay losing Amoonguss here if it means getting Trick Room up. So the other question is whether or not they'll want to commit Terra turn 1 on Basculegion. But yeah, I think basically if you don't lead the Amoonguss, like, you're so threatened by Basculegion immediately. Incineroar could intimidate it, but even with an Intimidate Basculegion with Rain and, you know, potential Mystic Water, Life Orb, Choice Band, Water Terra, there's so many multipliers. And they are going to commit Terra. Okay, fine by me. Grass Terra would be interesting, but if your Grass Terra means that you don't have the increase in damage, which would be fine by me. So it is going to be Water Terra. Yep. I also could have Terra'd Amoonguss here on turn 1 into Water, which would have prevented Hurricane from dealing super effective damage. I think that was maybe worth considering. But it's just going to be Water Terra Wave Crash here. Cool. Yeah, Amoonguss takes so much. I think enough where Hurricane might have still KO'd me anyway. Yep. So double up KOs me, but now we get Trick Room up. Which is good. Cool. Now I get a free switch it into the Ursaluna. I think what's mainly tricky this turn is one Pokemon can protect while the other one attacks, right? So I could pretty safely protect with Ursaluna, but then, like, what if they just double up onto Porygon, for example? I lean towards Terra Blast Pelipper here and protect this turn with Ursaluna. Because I think the Basculegion threat should be very real, and even if they end up, like, targeting the Porygon, if you end up wave crashing into it, then Ursaluna then the next turn can just Facade Pelipper and I can close combat Basculegion. So they don't protect Basculegion, but that's fine. We'll Terra Blast into Pelipper. Look how much damage that does. Oh my goodness. They Hurricane into a Porygon. Yep. And wave crash into us, but that's fine. Very good play though, because obviously I could have doubled up into something, and if I doubled up into Basculegion, especially with them not even targeting Ursaluna, we would have been very safe, but I'm still okay with this trade because now I get the free switch into Flamigo, right? And you are faster with your Basculegion under... I'm faster than your Basculegion under Trick Room. So Flamigo comes out now. I think I can also conserve my Terra right now. Ghost Terra. Is there any reason to hold on to Ghost Terra, though? Because, like, normal Terra Facade just does so much damage and covers for switch-ins. So, yeah, you know what? I think here I'm happy to just close combat Basque, Terra, Facade. The main thing this would cover for is if you were to switch Pelipper out into the Archaludon and getting extra damage onto that. But they're going to stay in with both, which is fine by me. So it's interesting because, like, Flamigo under Trick Room doesn't seem like the most intuitive attacker. But in this matchup, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think because we have Focus Sash, it is a lot stronger, right? Okay, Peli protects. Okay, they're going to Aqua Jet here to break the Focus Sash, which makes sense. Oh, actually, they target the Ursaluna, even better. Nice. So, Facade goes into Pelipper, but we'll knock out the Basculegion. Nice. Nice double up on a Porygon the earlier turn, though, like, to just ignore... Because Ursaluna still could have done a lot of damage, right? Like, I think there I could have just gone normal Terra, Headlong Rush plus Tri-Attack, or not Tri-Attack, Terra Blast, into the Basculegion slot. Okay, so it's another turn of Rain down. Let's see what comes out now. I think our Archaludon probably would be the scariest, but obviously I can just Headlong Rush into it. Actually, Archaludon wouldn't be scary because I would just Headlong Rush Brave Bird, double KO. Or actually, I'd probably want to close combat to conserve Focus Sash. The main thing when you use Flamigo is you have to be careful about breaking your own Sash from Brave Bird. Let's see. But yeah, I think Pelipper Basculegion is just such an oppressive combo. That you have to give up a good number of resources to deal with it when you use this team. And, like, okay, they're going to end up bringing out Ursaluna. Ursaluna is interesting. I do think I want to Facade into it. Close combat Pelipper. Facade into Ursaluna. Nice, they don't protect. That's huge. Should just get the one-hit knockout. Beautiful. Okay, so that's out of the way. They're gonna Hurricane into Flamigo. Okay, perfect. We have Focus Sash here, so as long as you don't confuse us, we should be good. Crit is fine. No confusion. Perfect. And we close combat to finish you off. So now it's a 2v1. Their last one is going to be either Murkrow, Hisuian Decidueye, or Archaludon. I don't think any of those can beat this combo right now, but let's see. I think what was key was the way they ended up splitting their damage. If Aqua Jet had got into Flamigo, then the Sash would have been broken, and that would have been a little bit scarier for me, right? Because then the Flamigo actually outpaces my opponent, or the Flamigo is outpaced under Trick Room. So Decidueye is the last one. Last turn of Trick Room and Rain. We can just go for Brave Bird here into you, and Facade into you. I would guess that it protects here, but if you protect, it means you're not Choice Scarfed, and then Flamigo just outpaces you and Brave Birds you. I actually wonder if it's correct to close combat, because I'm worried that Decidueye would survive Brave Bird, but I can't see it surviving. I guess it doesn't end up mattering, because Facade just comes out here. Nice. And normal Terra Facade is just an unbelievably powerful attack. Like, there's not really many things that can take it unless you are resistant or immune to it. So, yeah. This game was a little bit spooky, though, because my opponent made the very good double up onto Porygon. If Porygon ended up surviving just for an extra turn, I would have felt super confident in this game, right? But my opponent, like, did get all the damage into it. Ursaluna that turn could have just Terra'd and attacked, but I figured if my opponent, like, protects with one of the slots or they launch one of the two attacks into Ursaluna, then we should be in really good shape, and even in the worst-case scenario, things were still okay. But like I said, it was scary because they could have launched Aqua Jet into Flamigo, and then we're just one more attack away from fainting with Flamigo. In that endgame, they also could have protected the Ursaluna Blood Moon and then gone for like Weather Ball potentially onto our Ursaluna, which could have been scary as well. All right, we've got Whimsicott, Typhlosion, Blood Moon, King Gambit, Mousehold, and Tauros. Versions of these teams were really popular in the beginning days of the format. Tailwind in general, I think not the most common right now, but it's still really effective in best of one. Closed team sheet. Because, like, you can run Specs or Scarf on Typhlosion or Charcoal. Whimsicott beat Covert Cloak. You can run Sash. You can have Protect on it. You can have Fake Tears on Core. I should expect offensive Mousehold for sure. Flamigo's awesome because of Wide Guard here, I think. So I might even want to lead it. Flamigo Porygon. I don't think we want Golden Go in this one. I think Incin is a really good switch hit, and then we definitely want Ursa as the fourth. So let's go with this. If they lead like Mousehold, we'll probably want to just switch Flamigo out into Incin, or we could Ghost Terra with either Porygon or Flamigo to get around offensive Population Bomb, which is cool. Amoonguss I don't like in this matchup because they're so offensive. It does have Water Terra, so like let's say they went Whimsicott Typhlosion, we could Water Terra with Mentorb. I could always get a Spore off, even if you have Taunt. So, I don't know, maybe Amoonguss Porygon actually as a lead is not bad either, but I think Flamigo just exerts so much offensive pressure, and Wide Guard support is really nice. Like, let's say they lead Whimsicott Typhlosion, I can just Wide Guard turn 1 into Trick Room. I guess if I let that, there's no way they click Eruption though, right? Like, they probably Moonblast Shadow Ball, so I could Protect. But it's gonna be Ursaluna Typhlosion. Okay, that works for me. I might actually still click Wide Guard here. Download boost is awesome. Alternatively, I think we could just close combat Ursaluna, but I think Ursaluna protecting here makes sense. There is a part of me that wants to close combat here. Could also Brave Bird Typhlosion. I just don't think you ever let me close combat this for free like that, right? Okay, I'm gonna Wide Guard Trick Room turn 1. Yep, perfect. Ursaluna protects. Beautiful. And now this will be really interesting because let's say you do Eruption or Heat Wave. Nice. now I have Sash Flamigo under Trick Room, right? So I can just close combat plus Ice Beam into the Ursa slot. Okay, that was a really awesome turn 1. Yeah, I could Wide Guard again, but I think Typhlosion isn't that scary under Trick Room, so I'm down to just CC. Close combat, super effective. Something like a really switch into it other than Tauros or Whimsicott. So I'm down for Ice Beam here. Typhlosion switches, awesome. So we really scared it out with Wide Guard. Tauros comes out, yep. But we have Scrappy, so you do not intimidate us. Beautiful. Let's see if they Terra here. They don't, so we get Ice Beam, which is already super effective into them. That almost just KO'd. Wow, okay. And they Blood Moon into us, but that's totally fine. And you actually end up fainting from Life Orb here, I believe. Nice. So now close combat just gets redirected into the Tauros. Flamigo's been awesome for us in this one. Look how much damage that does. And I think with the opposing team, if Trick Room gets set up, it's just a complete nightmare for them, right? Because it's such a fast-paced offensive team. So we should be in very good shape now. They bring out King Gambit. Gambit, I guess, you could double up onto Flamigo. Could Terra Blast into you, though. Terra Blast Tauros, pretty safe. I also have Fighting Terra, so I could low-key Fighting Terra and then just snipe King Gambit, which is cool. I don't mind close combating King Gambit, going for Fighting Terra, and recovering this turn. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. They're going to Terra here, so it should be Terra on the King Gambit. Yep, let's see into what type. Okay, it's going to be Fairy. Fine by me. I think at this point, the Porygon is just going to be really difficult to deal with, right? Like Fighting Terra Porygon specifically is very good into the King Gambit matchup. So I just wanted to make sure that Porygon gets the heal up this turn, but maybe I could have launched close combat into the Tauros slot instead. Beautiful, Tauros protects, yeah. I figured that'd be the case, and with this, I think we probably just win the game. Because we survive Kowtow Cleave unless you crit us. Yeah, even with the crit, we'd survive. Beautiful. We get Recover off, and now I can just go for the... I don't think Ice Beam KOs Tauros. The reason you'd want to Ice Beam into it is because it would cover for Typhlosion switching in. I think I can actually just go out into Ursa now. And Terra Blast into Tauros. We want to go into Ursaluna because like Trick Room is still active. And I want to get that Flame Orb active as well. And I want to conserve the Focus Sash on Flamigo. Flamigo in the late game with Wide Guard just makes Typhlosion miserable, right? And they try to Sucker Punch us. Beautiful. I wonder if they went Sucker Aqua Jet here. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, decent damage on Ursaluna, but it's fine. Now I get Terra Blast into you. Sweet. That KOs Tauros. Perfect. We've seen Sucker Kowtow from Gambit. It's Fairy Terra. So, I don't know. I'm like trying to figure out the item on it. Flame Orb activates. They bring Typhlosion back out. We still have Sash Flamigo, which is great. Normally, Typhlosion on these teams are going to be Scarf or Specs. So, I could also self-Earthquake here, because I'm not going to feint to Sucker Punch from King Gambit. Just double-checking the speeds, yeah. I think I'm down to just Earthquake here and recover with Porygon. I'll Earthquake myself, but I think that's fine in this scenario. Cool. And they don't end up protecting. Yep. So Typhlosion feints. Nice. Does a ton of Gambit. The Earthquake there just covers for the case that they are Charcoal with the Typhlosion. Ends up being low kick here. to which Ursaluna even hangs on from. Cool, and Porygon recovers. Fighting Terra Porygon is like the perfect counter into the King Gambit. There's such little that King Gambit can do into us, right? So basically in that scenario, even if Typhlosion had protected and you low kick into the Porygon, I still survive. If you low kick, well then I just get a free switch and back out into Flamigo and I can just wide guard, right? So you just bring this back out. And click Brave Bird to end the game. But Flamigo was so awesome for us in this game. Like, it applied so much pressure early on, right? Wide guard immediately on turn 1 to stop the Typhlosion, and then also kind of forcing my opponent to switch out because they were scared about wide guard, and then getting so much free damage off with close combat as well. And now we just get to end the game with Brave Bird. Of course, you have to be very careful when you use Flamigo and clicking Brave Bird, because you don't want to just faint from your own recoil, or you don't want to break your Focus Sash. And so those are some considerations. But yeah, I think in this game we got to highlight how good the Porygon and Flamigo can be offensively, which is awesome. We've got Amoonguss, Primarina, Goldengo, Sneasler, Incineroar, and Porygon 2 for this one. So our teams are quite similar. Flamigo's really interesting here with Brave Bird in close combat. I think I definitely want to bring it. I might want to even lead it. Goldengo's really good if they don't have Dark Terra Throat Chop. I might go Flamigo Goldengo as a lead for this one, honestly. We can Ghost Terra as well. And then in the back, I like Ursaluna and P2, I think. Amoonguss is not the most consistent here, just into Goldengo Amoonguss, plus they could be safety goggles on Incin. I think our Incin's okay. But what does Incin struggle from? Very bad matchup to Primarina. I think it's just mainly that I wanted to bring both Porygon and Ursaluna, so I didn't want to separate the two. But they're going to go Primarina Porygon. Okay. Interesting. So I could just go close combat, make it rain immediately. Them setting up Trick Room isn't even that bad because of Ursaluna in the back. But Porygon could Terra here, which is what I'm worried about. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually thinking about just Brave Birding here into Primarina and make it rain. Try to eliminate that. Okay, I'm down. Because I think Porygon might want to Terra here. It could be Steel Terra Primarina, though, I guess. Uh-oh. Okay, it's Poison. That's still not ideal, though. Because close combat... And now the question is whether or not they Trick Room. If they Trick Room, I can bring Ursaluna out for free, which is good. Tons of damage from Brave Bird. Does Make It Rain just KO them? Oh, okay, nice. Wait, why did they Poison Terra? Because, yeah, it doesn't even help them resist anything other than fighting. All right, we'll take it. I said, oh, but then I was like, wait, hold on. We don't actually really get affected negatively by this. So I think Flamigo Goldengo is one of the most offensive leads you can go with when you use this team, and that was huge for us, obviously. But yeah, I wonder if they meant to Terra the Porygon, because like I said, I think that as a Terra option would have made a lot of sense. So they bring out Incineroar now. I would love to pivot in Ursaluna. They could fake out into us. And this could threaten with Ice Beam. I'm worried about knockoff. I want to sacrifice Goldengo ideally. So like protect here and then give up Goldengo to get a free switch into Ursaluna. So we'll protect here. Okay, they go for Ice Beam. Yep, knock off here. Cool. We faint, but we want that KO, so now I get a free switch into Ursa. The main thing here is we really don't want Ursaluna to eat up a knockoff, because then it gets rid of our Flame Orb, and we also don't want it to eat up an Ice Beam for free. So this works out perfectly. Great. I think the interesting thing here is I could just close combat with Flamigo, right? Headlong Rush into Incineroar. So Terra this. Close combat into Porygon. Headlong Rush into Incineroar. Ice Beam is scary, but it shouldn't KO us. I guess my main concern would be if Incineroar survived the Headlong Rush. But Ghost Terra now means that Ice Beam is no longer super effective into us. Cool, here's Headlong Rush. Nice. Yeah, I think the turn 1 Terra, I wonder if they meant to Terra the Porygon there. Because I don't think Poison Terra really would have solved for very much unless they were specifically expecting me to like read them to Steel Terra in close combat. Ice Beam does not KO Flamigo, but we get frozen. However, I think it's still fine with Ursaluna. And yeah, if we didn't get frozen there, Porygon just faints. But I think Ursaluna should still win this endgame for us. So I don't regret going for that Ghost Terra because it was like, would have won the game basically on the spot. Sneasler comes out though. Hold on. If this has Fake Out, my opponent still has a shot. I'm going to close combat here. And Facade. Okay, they do have Fake Out. We flinch. And we stay frozen, because now you can reverse Trick Room. Did that freeze cost me the game? That would feel really bad. Can close combat into Porygon now. Protect with Ursaluna. Do I need to thaw out here immediately? I mean, maybe I can survive CC from Sneasler, but I've taken a good bit of chip already. Alright, let's see. Do we stay frozen again? They do close combat into us. Okay, if we wake up, or if we thaw out, we should still be good here. Wow, that's a bummer. Ice Beam freeze into triple freeze turns. I think I could still maybe win off a double protect. But since Ursaluna was normal Terra, like, saving Terra for this wouldn't have helped, right? I guess the turn, I don't know, like, the odds were so overwhelmingly in our favor because they needed to get the freeze from Ice Beam and then 3 freezes, 3 freeze turns back to back to back as well. But yeah, I think the only out here is now Trick Room into double protect. Okay, we get it though. And they do close but they also could click Trick Room with their Porygon, expecting me to Trick Room. Okay, they don't. So single double protect may have brought us back into this game. Now the question is, does Sneasler have protect? Because I could Facade into Porygon. I think Facade should KO. I'm not 100% sure. But Porygon on my end, I think, can take a close combat as well. So the play I lean towards is going for Terra Blast into Porygon and Facade into it. They don't protect Sneasler though, so I could have won if I... Okay, we do just knock out Porygon there though. Nice. So then we should be good, because even if you knock out Ursaluna, Porygon wins. But yeah, single, like, freeze is just such a... Ooh. Actually, no, you end up eating defense drops from this. So another Terra Blast will KO. Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, yeah, if they could survive another Terra Blast, then you could Dire Claw status condition me. But now with the defense drop, this should be a KO. Or special defense drop. Nice. Okay. That was scary. Like, it really never feels good to have to rely on a double protect in order to win a game, but, like, we only needed it because we ended up getting frozen. Flamigo was still incredible for us in this game, right? Able to do so much damage into Primarina, able to pressure with close combat as well into Incin plus Porygon. So, could have been an even better Flamigo showcase if we didn't get frozen, because we would have just won the game on the spot by knocking out Porygon. Then you bring out Sneasler, Trick Room is still up for a couple turns, all my Pokemon outspeed you under Trick Room, so even with Focus Sash, you shouldn't be able to win the game. But yeah, that's why you don't give up. Like, even though the freeze was unfortunate, we were at least able to find the double protect win condition. And, once again, it doesn't feel good to have to rely on a double protect, but when you suddenly are playing from behind, you're going to maybe need a little bit of good luck in order to get back into things. This is a fun team. They've got Empoleon, Dragonite, Arcanine, Annihilape, Alolan Ninetales, and Archaludon. Regular Arcanine, haven't seen in a while. Empoleon, very cool to see. I think Incineroar is probably a pretty bad bring here with Competitive and Defiant on their team. Flamigo's offensive matchup is really interesting. I'm worried about not being able to deny Aurora Veil from Alolan Ninetales. They could go like Ninetales, Dragonite, Ninetales, Arcanine. Which is pretty scary. What are the chances, like, I can't actually get away with leading Ursaluna or Incineroar? I think I'll go Flamigo, Porygon, Ursaluna here. The last one... Amoonguss or Golden Go? I think I like Amoonguss because it can Pollen Puff into Ursaluna. Yeah, so I'll go with that. Golden Go is interesting, but it has to Nasty Plot a couple times. I think the value of Golden Go would be actually switching it in on like a Dragonite Ninetales lead. Annihilate Ninetales, okay. So I have Brave Bird pressure here, which is cool. I think I'm down to just Brave Bird turn 1 and Trick Room. But they could go Aurora Veil Bulk Up. They're also going to Terra here, okay. Terra Annihilate into Fire. The good thing is Ursaluna can now hit you for super effective damage, but Aurora Veil should get set up now, and I'm just worried I don't have enough to deal with the Annihilate. I think Annihilate's actually just a pretty scary Pokemon to begin with when you're fighting against it with this team because of its coverage. That's actually still pretty good damage. I'm assuming they're gonna bulk up, yeah. Okay, so I think we really don't want Annihilape to heal up with a Drain Punch. You're not... It might be Safety Goggles, honestly. I'm gonna Brave Bird. Actually, it's recoil versus drop defenses. I'd rather take the recoil. Brave Bird into you, and then pivot out into Amoonguss. Safety Goggles is my bet on what item this has, but if the Flamigo faints and they don't get a Drain Punch off and I get Ursaluna in for free, Headlong Rush Spore is really good. Yeah, they do just Drain Punch into Amoonguss, but that's fine. It's the only way I could deny them from healing a lot this turn. And, like, it sucks that I'm going to probably eat up a Blizzard here, but I think I just have to accept it. Let's see if it's Citrus. It's not Citrus, okay. We eat up a ton of damage, but that's fine, because now I am like 99% sure they're Safety Goggles. I don't know what other item they'd be running there. So it allows me to at least pivot in Ursa. Just that this switching out is so obvious. But I think I will still just go for Headlong Rush into you and Spore into you. Ninetales pivots, okay. Do I even knock it out? Oh no. I'm not sure I do. Yeah, I'm intimidated and Aurora Veil is up. I think it hangs on with the Sliver and then knocks me out in return. I could have doubled up onto Annihilape there. Oh, but they Rage Fist. Hold on. That gives us an out. It's still doable. Does it give us an out? Because they can just protect now. I could have gone Sludge Bomb. Yeah, but like Sludge Bomb normal Terra Headlong Rush. That would have been a really nice play. It was so close. There is still 2 turns of Trick Room, so maybe it's actually still doable. I am down to Earthquake right now. And Terra Blast. If it was 1 turn of Trick Room, I think I'd feel pretty done for, but with 2 turns, I think it's still salvageable. Yeah, so Arcanine switches. Dragonite would be a great switch in here. Is that Dragonite? Okay. That could have been an Ice Beam this turn. But I think with Arcanine asleep and Porygon having a download boost, it's still potentially doable. Just a shame that I didn't get the Ice Beam off here. Okay. I can't tell if it's multi-scale, like when you have a Roarveil on top as well. Let's see if you bring Ninetales back out. They do. Okay. So I've got Facade. I think normal Terra Facade is fine. I'm gonna Facade Dragonite and Ice Beam into it. Because Ninetales shouldn't really be that scary, right? Yeah, they switch out, which is very safe. I really think this is winnable, though, honestly. Even with the Aurora Veil and even with the Intimidates, with normal Terra, like, I don't think Ninetales should be doing that much damage, and I can set up Trick Room again, right? So I can just Earthquake and Trick Room this next turn. Although I think Arcanine probably switches back out into Dragonite. So instead of Earthquaking, I think I should be Facading into the Arcanine slot to cover for Dragonite. Okay. Still a ton of damage there, yeah. Jeez. Citrus Arcanine. Okay. Ice Beam. Day Blizzard. It's a bit more to... Oh. Okay, well that's really not good. That was bad timing for a freeze. TR expires. I will Facade into Arcanine and Trick Room. They just stay in and Moonblast. Wait, that did so much damage. Offensive Ninetales kind of slaps. I'm going to Feint from Burn now, but it's still possible to win with Porygon if I thaw out. I think it could theoretically 1v3. But we stay frozen. Okay. Ooh, that's a bummer. If we weren't frozen, I would have protected, I think, then Trick Room, but because they had Moonblast, honestly, Blizzard into Moonblast did so much damage. I think the key thing here is Annihilate Pangeon with like 1 HP or just a couple of HP that turn. The freeze obviously wasn't great as well, but they had Intimidate. Their lead was really effective. I didn't have a good way to stop Ninetales plus Annihilate. Like, they were guaranteed Aurora Veil, basically, which I think was really tough for us. Okay, it's still theoretically possible for Porygon to pull this off if they... Let's see, 110 to 64, 56 damage. They stay asleep. I need a thaw out right now. Nope. Okay. Unfortunate. The Ninetales having the Moonblast actually was a really big deal, because normally you run Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Aurora Veil, Protect. So having Moonblast allows them to have a consistent offensive attack, and we just stay frozen again, so... Yeah, that's going to be GG. Aurora Veil wears off. Wait, so they were Light Clay in the end, right? That's really cool. I wonder if it's just Light Clay, like max special attack, max speed Ninetales. Because the Moonblasts were doing a considerable amount of damage. Like, I didn't think Blizzard Moonblast plus 2 ticks of burn would actually knock out normal Terra Ursaluna, but it was enough. So Ninetales was very impressive here, and I think fighting type attacks in Pokemon can be scary, and Annihilate in particular is scary, especially because, like I said, I assume it has safety goggles. Maybe it didn't, but I just don't know what other item you'd be carrying if you're not running Leftovers or Citrus Berry or Choice Scarf, right? Like, those are the common items on Annihilate. Obviously, you're not going to run Scarf on a bulk up set, and so goggles would make so much sense based on how they play that. But yeah, switching in for the Intimidate was really smart by them. And then they were able to knock out a Amoonguss. I guess it's like, yeah, if they Drain Punch Ursaluna, I probably would have just lost the game there on the spot. But since they ended up knocking out a Amoonguss, we actually still had a chance. And if the freeze didn't happen, maybe we still had an opportunity to win. But yeah, GG. All right, we have the Regionals winning team, Archaludon, Basculegion, Pelipper, Amoonguss, Incin, and Mousehold. So I think there's 3 really scary leads. Pelipper, Basculegion, Pelipper, Archaludon, and Maushold plus Archaludon. Since we're using almost all physical Pokemon, Maushold boosting up Archaludon immediately would be really bad for us. So I could go Amoonguss, Porygon. I've generally found that Amoonguss, Porygon feels okay with this team. Into our opponent's comp. Ursa in the back. The last one's interesting, right? Because it's like, if Maushold doesn't come out, then we don't need Golden Go or Ensign nearly as much. But if it does come out, we want these a lot more. Pelipper, Basculegion. I like Flamigo, honestly, because Flamigo can close combat Maushold, Ensign, Brave Bird into Amoonguss, close combat into Archaludon. If Archaludon Grass Terras, we can Brave Bird you as well. So, let's see. But there's a reason why this team won the very first regional championship, right? Like, the Maushold just adds another layer to it, and having so many threatening leads is really scary. Like, I've had times where I predict Pelipper Basculegion, my opponent goes Pelipper Archaludon, for example. Yep, it is Archaludon Pelipper. Okay. This is Water Terra Amoonguss as well, so I might take a risk here and straight up just go for Trick Room and then switch Amoonguss out into Ursaluna. The reason for this is because if I Water Terra Amoonguss and they Grass Terra with Archaludon, they can just Electro Shot us, which is really bad. I think you normally probably wouldn't go for Weather Ball into the Amoonguss slot specifically. Okay, hopefully we're baiting out Grass Terra here. That would be nice. Because then I can Ice Beam normal Terra and just double up Archaludon next turn with Facade plus Ice Beam. Yep, so it is going to be Terra here. Yeah, they do Hurricane into us. Okay, Hurricane Electro Shot, that's fine. Curious where that goes into. I'm assuming Porygon. Oh, nice. Goes into Ursaluna. Okay, cool. So we get Trick Room up at least, which is good. So the play I want to make this next turn is normal Terra Ursaluna and then double up onto Archaludon with Facade plus Ice Beam. I don't know if I need the normal Terra here, to be honest, but it also helps us take Weather Ball potentially from Peli, although, I don't know, might still just knock us out. If Pelipper protects this turn, we're in really good shape. But yeah, it doesn't feel good to like switch in Ursaluna and all that damage on turn 1. Okay, so we've Terra'd. No Protect from Peli, unfortunately. So here is normal Terra Facade. Almost knocks out Archaludon. Yeah, it was close. But Ice Beam will finish him off. Okay. The problem is I'm probably eating up a Weather Ball in Ursaluna now, and I'm going to take a lot of damage. That might just be a knockout. It's not super effective anymore, but Weather Ball is still so strong. Boosted in the rain. We saw how much Hurricane just did to us. Yeah. Okay. We have eliminated like a huge threat from their end, but I don't know how good this trade-off is for us at the end of the day. I can at least bring Amoonguss back in. They bring out Ensign. Okay. So you fake out Hurricane Pressure right now. And this is where if I conserve Terra, like Amoonguss would have been able to Water Terra potentially. I was also worried about Peli switching into Ensigns, so that's why I wanted to double up and normal Terra there. I can at least Terra Blast Pelipper here and Spore into it. Yeah, you have to fake out Amoonguss, but you can fake out plus Hurricane into it, right? Let's see how much Terra Blast does to them. The answer is bring them down to Sash. Okay. Yep. And that's just a KO as well. Well, we have Flamigo in the back. Flamigo obviously quite good here because I can just close combat into the Incineroar slot. But they could obviously parting shot with Incin right now. 2 turns of Trick Room. What do we think the last one is going to be is the other question. Because I'd like to just Terra Blast Pelly here, but I wonder if I should be doubling up onto Incin. I might double up onto Incin, honestly. Terra Blast and CC. Nice, okay. I'm guessing they're going to parting shot, maybe knock off though. Oh, they just Flare Blitz us. Huh. That is really surprising. Like, I thought parting shot there was basically like a guarantee from their end. Because it would have allowed them to cycle Incin out and back in for Intimidate, as well as Fake Out. Well, I guess Intimidate's not relevant into Flamigo because it's scrappy. But I thought parting shot there was relatively safe. So, okay, I'll take that turn. What's their last one? Bask? Oh, this is really interesting because your rain is expiring. And I outpace you with Flamigo. So can't I just Terra Blast? Pelipper? The thing is they could Aqua Jet us here, so I think I should be protecting Flamigo, right? Terra Blast, Pelipper, protect? Because then rain expires? Yeah. I think if they switched Incin out, they would have just had this one, because they would then swap out Pelipper for Incin, but now that they can actually lose their weather, that's a big deal. So I'm going to Terra Blast Pelipper here and protect with Flamigo. Because I think you should Aqua Jet Flamigo. They might just Wave Crash me, but I'll survive that. Okay, Pelly faints. But they didn't Aqua Jet, which isn't great. Are they just Wave Crashing? They just went for Last Respects, huh? Now I don't even think Aqua Jet KOs. Trick Room expires. So I have to Ice Beam here. Into Basket Legion. Close combat. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of damage. They go for Last Respects onto us, okay? Flamigo faints. We get Ice Beam. I mean, I should survive any attack. I think we should always Trick Room here in case they try to protect. Yeah, you need a Wave Crash crit. Even a crit I don't think does it. Nice. Trick Room gets set up, and now we just Ice Beam. So yeah, I think the rain stalled out at the perfect time for us, right? And I also think they basically had the opportunity to cycle. Yeah, they did end up having Aqua Jet here. So they could have Aqua Jetted into us as well, though I guess once the rain stalled out, we were probably okay. But I don't know, I had the defense drop, right? So yeah, to me, like, the game was scary because I lost Ursaluna pretty early on. And then I lost Amoonguss right afterwards. Like, my opponent correctly doubled up onto, or like made the right plays to knock out Ursaluna and knock out Amoonguss. And as a result, then I was kind of playing from a deficit. But because Amoonguss would have been really good in the late game into Basket Legion, right? But yeah, I think Incin not going for Parting Shot punished my opponent really heavily. Because if you had gone for Parting Shot that turn, you would have been able to switch in the Basket Legion and it would eat up a close combat. But then, like I said, you could switch Pelly out into Incin. But with that, because rain expired just at the right time, like Basket Legion without rain was suddenly so much less of a threat because your water type attacks do less damage and you don't outspeed the Flamigo, right? So it worked where like Flamigo outsped Basket Legion under Trick Room and then Trick Room ended and Flamigo was faster than Basket Legion because rain had ended. We've got Incin, Rilla, Talonflame, Garchomp, Hydreigon, and Gastrodon for this one. Okay. If we get Ursaluna in safely, it looks like it could be really good. Flamigo looks like it could be really good. Dragon Terra Golden Go, probably not the best. I think I'm interested in Porygon Flamigo here. Ursa in the back. Amoonguss is tempting. I Ensign gives me Intimidate, though, into... Then they have 4 physical attackers. Probably should just be Ensign. I don't know, though. Like, Amoonguss side Pollen Puff here does feel really good. Yeah, okay. Let's go with it. I think, like, Ensign would feel very good if they bring Rillaboom. If they don't bring Rillaboom, suddenly I have way less need for it. Flamigo lead, I think, looks really sick here with Brave Bird in close combat. Golden Go, I think, is already threat in turn 1 if I lead it into Ensign / Talonflame. Hydreigon can just Dark Pulse into it, and if I Terra, then they can Draco into us. Gastro, I don't think should be too much of a worry with Ursaluna. But one of the main things to think about is using Flamigo and Porygon to maybe eliminate Incineroar. Fake Out Cycling is definitely one way to deal with Ursaluna, right? Where you can just stall out Trick Room by Fake Out, Switch, Fake Out, Switch. So that's the main thing we want to watch out for. Instant Talonflame. Okay. So I can Ghost Terra to just close combat Instant turn 1. I honestly think that might be worth it. This also prevents Brave Bird from doing super effective damage. Yeah, I think I'm down to Trick Room, Ghost Terra, CC. If they Fake Out Porygon, that's fine. Then if we, like I said, if we eliminate Incineroar, that's 1 Fake Out Cycler out of the way, and it also means no more Intimidate for Ursaluna to deal with, and I think that's pretty worth it. The downside is it means Ursaluna then will be continuously weak to Rillaboom if they have that in the back. And I actively chose not to bring Instant into this one. And they Fake Out Porygon. Okay, so nicely done by them. It's because they have Will-O-Wisp here on Talonflame. Okay. That's not the best turn 1 to see. But close combat should still do a ton here. Yeah. Like, I can still close combat Trick Room this next turn. Ooh, but there's Citrus as well. Okay. That complicates things. I think here... Flamigo is knockoff bait right now. I think I still will Trick Room and close combat. I thought about switching Flamigo out into Ursaluna here, but if it eats up a knockoff, that doesn't feel great because then I don't get burnt. Although I guess they could Will-O-Wisp that slot. Talonflame is Taunt and Will-O-Wisp, so it only, I assume as Tailwind, only has 1 of Brave Bird or a Fire type attack, so more supportive Talonflame, which ends up being very good for my opponent here. I'm assuming they're hitting me with a knockoff? Yeah. Okay. Very good play by my opponent so far. The Citrus on Instant also, like, they just had all the things that give us trouble right now. Will-O-Wisp to stop Flamigo, Taunt to stop Trick Room, and Citrus on Instant. So we got Ursa out. I'm going to Amoonguss here and Protect. Get our Flame Orb active. The problem is the Protect is just so obvious here, right? And is this Rilla switching in right now? No, it's Hydreigon. Okay. Instant could pretty easily Parting Shot right now. The good thing is I do have Mentor Orb on Amoonguss, so we could use that to catch the Talonflame off guard and get a Spore off. But I'm playing pretty far from behind right now, so in order to win this game, I definitely need to set up Trick Room. Oh, but that just eliminates my Mentor Orb as well. Oh, okay. So, very tough spot right now. Instant could Parting Shot. I don't think this is just going to Draco, but... Like, I'm thinking Spore into Hydreigon and Facade into Instant. They might just Flare Blitz, though. That's the problem. Terra comes out? Okay, Terra Steel Hydreigon would make a lot of sense here. Yep, that's a really good anti-Ursaluna Terra. I think they played this game just super well, honestly. starting with the Will-O-Wisp, because Flamigo was really good offensively in this matchup, but being able to burn it was huge. Yeah, and they just Flare Blitz. Nicely done. I was hoping here they would maybe try to get a little bit passive and think like I can Intimidate cycle, because I obviously could have switched Amoonguss out into the Porygon there, but I think the way they played this makes a lot of sense since they know they have Steel Terra on Hydreigon. So I think they did a really good job eliminating threats quickly in this one, and I think the Talonflame Will-O-Wisp was the #1 tool that they had here, because otherwise Flamigo just one-shots their team, right? But with it being a 2-hit KO onto a Talonflame and them having the Citrus Berry, like Instant just got so much more value, right? Unfortunately, I don't have Terra anymore, otherwise I'd be able to Terra Blast this. They should always just taunt us, but I think the only way we can win, I see at this point, is for them to make a mistake and throw. So I'm still going to just Trick Room Protect here. But yeah, Talonflame with the Will-O-Wisp and the taunt was the absolute like #1 counter to my lead here. You know, one thing I could have done was just hard switch Flamigo into Ursaluna on turn 1, which would have been cool. I could have let Amoonguss Porygon into this one maybe as well. Okay, they don't taunt, so I can get Trick Room up at least. Well, that gives us a small window of opportunity. We get crit though, which isn't ideal. But yeah, the problem is this Hydreigon just walls Ursaluna, right? I just can't hit it at all. Like, not being able to use my ground type attacks really stings here. I think now our win con is Ice Beam Freeze into you. And just, like, Facade 2-hit KO into it. Or critical hit Facade. But yeah, Brave Bird does too much. So, like, I'm going to just eat up Draco now. They could miss Draco as well, I suppose. Facade does a ton. Ice Beam. No freeze. They do just Dark Pulse us. And I do survive with 18 HP, but do I faint from burn? Nope. 5. If their last one is Garchomp, Porygon could still win this. I feel like it's a Assault Vest Hydreigon based on how this is played out, right? Terra Blast to you, Facade into you. They switch. That's really smart, I think. You just sacrifice Gastrodon so that you get the Hydreigon versus Porygon 1v1 in the end game. I think that's really smart. Because Porygon could actually beat Gastro maybe in a 1v1, but now I think I should lose. Tons of damage from Terra there. And they taunt, so I can't heal anymore. Oh yeah, bulky AV Hydreigon was a problem for us with Steel Terra. Once again, it just starts with the Will-O-Wisp from Talonflame. I don't know, I guess I could have covered for that. Like, committing my Ghost Terra meant that I could have normal Terra Ursaluna as well, so maybe it was a little bit greedy to Ghost Terra. I think I was just thinking of that one match where I was able to Ghost Terra and like win the game off that immediately. But there's still 2 turns of Trick Room, so Ice Beam Freeze could still give us a shot. But Steel Terra is just so good into the combination of Porygon. It's like Steel Terra plus Levitate, right? Because normally I would just be able to ground type attack you. Ice Beam. No freeze. Yeah, you just Snarl Will-O-Wisp. Get guaranteed residual. Yep, exactly. Very nicely played. How do I approach this game differently? They led Instant Talonflame. If I knew that they'd be a more support Talonflame set and respected Will-O-Wisp, we could have Ghost Terra. Oh no, we're not Ghost Terra. We're Fighting Terra. Let me just forfeit here because they've definitely won. But let me think about what I could have done. We could have gone for Instant Lead, but then they still have Taunt. Amoonguss Instant Lead would be interesting because I have Intimidate and I have Mental Orb. I could Fake Out, but it might be Covert Cloak Talonflame anyway. Golden Go doesn't feel good until a dual Fire Lead. I think I needed to make a good switch on turn 1 basically, but yeah, like If we knock out Talonflame, then Flamigo should win that matchup really easily. But it's not very easy to just like eliminate Talonflame on turn 1. But yeah, something like instant Porygon lead and like knock off and Terra Blast and like launch a bunch of attacks into Talonflame, then set up for Flamigo plus Ursaluna in the end game would have been like a different approach that we could have taken. But yeah, it's like hard to cover for that support Talonflame set, and the well, I guess offensive Talonflame isn't really an issue for us, right? So yeah, like it's like dealing with support Talonflame, we should just assume that because it's the worst case that we could run into. And given that I should have just switched out on turn 1, but yeah, the immediate Will-O-Wisp was really nice, and then having the Citrus made it tougher because then Instant was able to stay on the field and eventually knock out the Amoonguss, and of course remove its Mental Orb as well. Alright, we've got Sun for this one. Gambit, Hisuian Lilligant, Torkoal, Indeedee, Typhlosion, and Hatterene. Lilligant, Torkoal is the main lead to worry about. Torkoal, Typhlosion, also something to respect. Goggles, Incin is valuable for Intimidate, and immunity to Spore. Flamigo has Wide Guard, which is pretty cool. If I bring Incin, though, I can activate Defiant on King Gambit, which is terrifying. Golden Go is nice, actually, because I can just Dragon Terra, right? To get around Eruption. Yeah. Like, what if I just go Incin Golden Go? I really want to bring Flamigo, too. I don't want Amoonguss. Flamigo Golden Go? Porygon Ursaluna? I don't know. Incin does seem pretty good here offensively, too, with Flare Blitz. So, maybe I should be bringing it. I think Golden Go here covers for the main threats. Indeedee Hat. I don't think they would lead that, though. Torkoal Typhlosion would be scary, but what we can do is just Wide Guard Shadow Ball with that. Because, I mean, Torkoal here could be Overheat. It's Indeedee Typhlosion. Okay. I don't mind Wide Guarding, but I'm worried about just getting hit by Shadow Ball here from Typhlosion. Psychic Seed. I honestly think I want to protect turn 1 and close combat into Typhlosion. They might expect Wide Guard, they might Shadow Ball me here. Close combat into Typhlosion just greatly reduces your fire type, like Eruption damage specifically. I thought about Wide Guard Nasty Plot as well, but then the question is, where does that even really get me? Indeedee might just go for Follow Me, but nope, they're going to switch. Okay. Torkoal? Well, this is interesting, because if you're going to commit to fire type damage, I think I can Wide Guard Terra next turn. So we protect. They didn't Terra here. It's just Eruption, so Wide Guard would have worked, but that's okay. Brings us down to Sash, and I can just Wide Guard again next turn. And Indeedee now loses its special defense boost. Oh, it does so much damage. Nice. So I think I want to Terra here. Plot, Wide Guard. Curious if Typhlosion switches here. Couldn't tell if it was choiced based on turn 1. But if I get this Nasty Plot off and Dragon Terra covers us defensively, I think like Make It Rain can kind of just start sweeping them. Ideal output would be Typhlosion switching out here, but looks like they are going to stay in. So might be a Heat Wave from their end. They might be content to click Eruption still if their choice, just to get rid of Flamigo. Okay. There's Wide Guard. What did they do? Yep, Eruption. If they're gonna do that and not click something else, I really think they're choiced. Which is valuable information. We Nasty Plot up here. And they Flamethrower, that's fine. Cool. Don't take that much with the Terra. Let's see. I think Typhlosion probably switches now. I'm down to click Make It Rain and Close Combat into Torkoal. I think now that I've revealed Wide Guard, you should be wary of it. Even if they stay in, then I at least knock out Typhlosion. I think I'm actually most scared of late game Typhlosion locking to Heat Wave, but they are going to pivot out here, which is good. So now you just get Make It Rain plus CC. I think this should be a double KO, but let's see. Maybe Torkoal hangs on. Okay, they just go for Protect. Well, that's fine by me then. Close Combat into Protect. And Make It Rain. Let's see if it knocks out NDD +2 and Life Orb, and you don't have your special defense boost anymore. So I would expect it to KO, but... well, critical hit guarantees it for sure. Okay. Good Protect on the Torkoal, though. I was really hoping to just snipe it down there. So you can bring Typhlosion back in now. Yep. The question is, what move do you click now? I can double Protect this turn to scout out for what it wants to do. 2 turns of Sun left as well. Yeah, I don't mind double Protecting here. Because I think if you stay in with Torkoal next turn, you're going to want to switch. But like the question is, do you lock into a spread move or single target move? The key thing to note is that my opponent hasn't expanded Terra yet, but that's fine. Just Protect on both. Okay, it's going to be Shadow Ball. Cool. And Flamethrower. Yep. Okay. So I think what we can do now, knowing it's the last turn of Sun, is you probably want to switch out Torkoal. I'm happy to just click Make It Rain here and click Close Combat into Typhlosion. The logic here is... I don't even know if Shadow Ball knocks out Golden Go if you're Scarf, to be honest. Yep, so Torkoal does make the switch to reset the weather. King Gambit's their last one. Okay, so Ursaluna has a very good endgame here for us. Let's see. If Shadow Ball doesn't KO us, we just win. But it does KO. Okay, that's fine. So the endgame now is Porygon 2, right? I guess the interesting thing is, do I even want to set up Trick Room? I think I can just go out into Ursaluna first, right? And then just double Protect. The only thing I would lose to is Swords Dance Gambit. Maybe we want to cover for that, actually. Sunlight fades. Terrain disappears. Yeah, so I think we go into Ursa first. If you Swords Dance, Close Combat would just KO you, so you kind of need to Sucker Punch us. Earthquake here is pretty safe, but Headlong Rush just guarantees a KO. I think here I don't mind going for Protect Ursaluna into... I don't think we need to Protect, honestly, is the thing. Gambit, I think, is going to Terra here. I am worried about like eating up an Overheat. And after I Protect, I think it's fine to Protect Ursa here and Close Combat into Gambit. Yeah, so here's the Terra. And it's like if you Terra Dark Gambit, this is also okay. It is going to be Gambit Terraing into Flying. Okay, well, good thing we didn't just launch a ground type attack into that slot. The question now is, are you Terra Flying Swords Dance or are you just Assault Vested? If you're Assault Vested, I think Ursaluna should just win this endgame still, and now I can Ice Beam you with Porygon. Nice, Torkoal protects. Okay, I think this should put us in a very good spot, regardless of what Gambit goes for. And it didn't Sucker Punch, although now it means it could Swords Dance. But even Swords Danced up, I'm not sure you knock out Ursaluna. I don't think you do. Nice, and it's Kowtow. Okay, cool. I think that wins us the game. Because now I can just go Headlong Rush into Torkoal and Brave Bird into Gambit. Yeah. And then Porygon can just end the game with Ice Beam into Gambit. So they would need a double Protect right now to start. But they just Sucker Punch. Okay. Yeah, I think you go for Sucker, maybe hope that I mess up and like don't Headlong Rush you. Or that I target the Gambit with Ursaluna. But with Flying Tower, I think they're Assault Vested, especially if we didn't see a Swords Dance at any point. But Headlong Rush just gets the one-hit KO. Beautiful. So Flamigo was really good for us in this game. It was able to pressure with the Wide Guard immediately, which was a really big deal, and then just enable Golden Go to set up a little bit easier in this game. Force the Terra out of the Gambit here too. So Porygon comes out. And one of the beautiful things about the type synergy on this team, now that you're Flying Terra, Ice Beam is just super effective. Download also gives us this special attack boost, so we can just go for... Protect Trick Room is always safe here. Yeah. So there's Protect. Yeah, and they try to Sucker Punch us, cool. Even if they were Swords Dance, like... I mean, I guess we don't necessarily need to go for this, but I don't see like what they can do to punish it, right? Like if you Kowtow Cleave, we just take no damage. If you Swords Dance, then you still have to deal with 2 threats the next turn, right? So now I can just Facade and Ice Beam, and I just have the speed advantage. I think they have to Sucker Punch into Ursa, but I don't think that even KOs. Yeah. And this is the downside of a King Gambit that does not have any attack boosts from things like Defiant, Coaching, or Swords Dance. You're just not exactly going to do that much damage. So Typhlosion was kind of the carry for my opponent in this game, but Wide Guard on Flamigo was able to put a stop to it just spamming its spread moves, which was really, really nice for us. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me. Thank you to Toler, Yotam, and everyone else who worked on this team for building and sharing it, and thanks to you all as always for watching. Flamigo was really fun and impressive in this one, so if you're looking for a fun new anti-meta Pokemon, you should definitely consider this one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Alright, peace.